Hello, everyone. My name is Edith, also known as the Lady E, and welcome to the Lady E Effect podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. I am going to go ahead and dive right into it and give him the opportunity to introduce himself.
Thank you, Lady E. Hi, everyone. My name is Prince Parker, Onyiremba, formerly known as Prince Parker Onyiremba, uh, born of Nigerian descent. Very proud of that. Igbo Nation. Um, Local kid from Norfolk, Virginia. Grew up big on sports. Played football at Virginia Tech, basketball at Virginia Tech. Very smart, graduated with a 3.9. I always like to put that out because I'm a student athlete first. Um, Pretty much me, yeah. Just a sports guy, real estate guy, into sales, do IT. That's pretty much who I am.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time. You are a very busy man, also very successful, have a lot of things going on. So I know time is something important to both of us. So let's go ahead and dive in. Speaking of some of the topics that you mentioned, we're going to get into some things really quickly and, just get into some topics that I know the audience will definitely appreciate talking about. So, first things first, I want to dive into something that we haven't really dived into much. I know, especially growing up in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia locations, there's a lot of prestigious schools here, both historically Black colleges as well as colleges, universities, et cetera. So, speaking of Virginia Tech, there's a lot of great people that actually attended there. So, I want to dive into that first and have you share with the audience just your experience and, how Virginia Tech was for you.
Okay. Blacksburg, Virginia. It was a place I called home for 4 years. It was nothing like it. Just being able to go there and make a lot of connections. I actually went there with a really good friend of mine at the time, and just built a lot of connections. A lot of my connections actually live up in the DMV area, Northern Virginia, Maryland. But just being in Blacksburg, like I said, there's nothing like it. Being a part of the football team, running out the tunnel, just seeing the fans, 50, 60,000, 70,000 fans just screaming, being able to walk into the stadium and listen to Inner Sandman. But just like I said, most importantly was the connections. Just building camaraderie, friendships, networking. It was nothing like it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And you're right. When you go to colleges, it prepares you for the real world, even though the real world is still all around you. But, when you go into that space, there's a lot of relationships, long-term, life-term relationships that you can build. Networking is something that you touched on that is very important too. Of course, we come to
Yeah,
college for, education purposes and graduation and just building the longevity of our education and just the literacy of the industries that we're looking to just grow in as well as sports. So speaking of sports, just want to get into that. This network loves sports. So
yeah.
some highlights that you have in that space regarding football and basketball that you had at Virginia Tech.
Well, first I want to precurse this. A lot of people don't know this about me. I had an academic scholarship to go to Virginia Tech that I use. I had athletic scholarships to other institutions, other colleges. But as I said before, I graduated high school with a 3.9. Didn't really try, but smart guy. That's my Nigerian descent in me. But as I stated before, a lot of people don't know that I went to school on an academic scholarship. Coach Beamer at the time, he was recruiting, once again, a really good friend of mine. We both went to high school together. And at that time, we were like a package deal. We were inseparable. With that being said, I decided to go there with him and join the football team. But most importantly, like I said, academia first. My schooling first. Now more so on the sports aspect of it. I didn't have the career that I wanted to have at Virginia Tech. I foresaw things that I thought would be the way that I thought it would be, but it didn't turn out that way. But as far as highlights, there were some highlights. Playing against Russell Wilson, then quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks when he played for NC State. Um, that was one of my best college games. Blocking for Darren Evans at the time. He scored on like a 90-yard touchdown. I'll never forget it. Myself and Andre Smith, the two tight ends, we had two kick-out blocks. Darren runs in for a 90-yard touchdown. That's my best college career game that I can remember And it was selfless because I'm not even speaking about catching the ball. I'm speaking about blocking. Um, but just being a part of the football team, like I said, it was a brotherhood. Never got treated any differently. I was one of the guys. I consider myself a leader on the team. Learned a lot from a lot of people. Um, Basketball wise, the same thing. Walked on to the basketball team. I had a really good friend by the name of Paul Debnam. He played football for a little bit. He walked over to the basketball team. My final year at Virginia Tech, all the basketball players vouched for me. Hey, we want Prince to come over to the team. They know I was a really good basketball player. In fact, I was better at basketball than football. But playing basketball, I'll never forget. It was this guy for Wake Forest just talking, and I'll never forget just setting the screen on him, knocking him down. So I brought a little edge to the basketball team because I was a football player, and also just scoring my first points on the basketball team. And it was just ironic that it was one of my best friends who became my roommate at Virginia Tech, the guy I told you about, Paul Debnam, who gave me the assist to be able to score my first basket as Virginia Tech Hokie basketball player. So it was just great. The basketball team welcomed me. The fans welcomed me in Castle Stadium at that time. Like I said, those are memories I'll never forget.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure all the people that you mentioned and highlight when they, see this interview and see this space, they'll be really excited, and it will definitely jog a lot of memories that you guys have, lifetime memories that you have. And like you said, when it comes to college and especially sports, when we all play sports, of course I play sports too, you have brotherhoods and sisterhoods that you build. We all have our own family members and loved ones and siblings more or less, but you really do build a brotherhood when it comes to entering school, and it comes to different sports that you play, but especially when it comes to football and basketball. That's something that the world is their favorite type of sports. It really is a brotherhood before it's anything else. So of course, everybody wants to win. Success is something that's important, but also, going through the hardships together and learning how to evolve and lift one another up when it comes to, hardships and challenges, or, if you lose something that's a championship or whatever, like just growing as brothers and just having that longevity relationships, especially when you grow up to be, fathers and husbands and things like that. That's something that's super important. So we really appreciate you sharing that. And we're going to
No
shift.
problem.
Yeah, we're going to shift a little bit into, I know you didn't speak on this in the beginning, but definitely want to touch bases a little bit on parenthood. You are an amazing father, and definitely want to
Thank
share,
you. Thank you.
of course, definitely want to give you the opportunity to just share any highlights you like to share regarding fatherhood.
Uh, I look at life like this. I just want to take a step back again. 2019. Everybody's talking about 2020 is coming. Everybody knows 2020 means perfect vision. Everything's lined up perfectly. I think Cinco de Mayo was on a weekend. We got something in the water coming up, and then we all get hit. Everyone gets hit differently, but we all still felt it the same with COVID. Addressing the elephant in the room, something that just kind of came out of left field. So as far as fatherhood, I won't lie, it was very tough early on. First child, I have a 3-year-old son now, going on 33. He likes to run everything, full of energy. Fatherhood is great, but it was tough early on just because I had to learn how to be a dad. And that's the biggest thing I can say is give yourself grace being a parent. But learning how to be a dad over the course of 3 years since COVID, it is the blessing in disguise. The reason I bring up COVID is because it was a blessing in disguise. I got a chance to literally watch my son grow from the time he was born until the stage that he's at now, which I'm not sure that I would have been able to have that same opportunity had COVID not hit. So you always, just in life, you always want to look and find the silver lining in everything. And that's my silver lining. Our next child is going to be a little jealous because not sure he or she, hopefully it's she be able to, spend as much time with her parents early on, being that, you have two working parents. But once again, just back to your question about parenthood, I wouldn't change anything. I love it. It's very, very difficult, but it's very, very rewarding in the end, just watching a little you grow up, become who they are, build a personality, do some of the things that you do. Some things are even innate. The way I cross my legs, I look at my son, he'll cross his legs the same way. the way he might hold a smile. So, I just enjoy parenthood, fatherhood specifically for me. It's just a beautiful thing.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Mhm.
Especially as a man of color, there's a lot of negative connotations that overshadow just the prestigious men and fathers that are here. So, especially with you having your experience and just sharing it the way that you have, yes, parenting is difficult. We don't realize the sacrifices and what our parents did until we become parents, and we have our own
Sure.
experiences when we do that. And, you having your own seed is obviously not the same as, being around other children and things like that. So, thank you for just being honest and transparent because a lot of times in life we highlight the good, we highlight things that are like, oh, this is my best moment, but those challenges are also a part of your story, let alone your testimony. So we really appreciate you touching on that. So have about two more things to ask before we close out the segment. So just want to get a little bit into the professional space. You're obviously a very successful man in the business entrepreneurial space, but just in spaces.
Well, I appreciate that.
Of course. So, especially when it comes to, as, Igbo descendants, Nigerian descendants, we have a lot of expertise, just like you shared in sports. You were great at two sports that a lot of times someone is either better at one or the other, if not either one. So, especially when it comes to your professional expertise and background, would you like to share some highlights regarding real estate, technology that you would like to share with the audience?
Oh yeah, for sure. Real estate. I've been a real estate agent since 2015. Um, After I got out of college, graduating and everything, I worked out for two NFL teams, the Ravens and the Browns. Things didn't, like I said, things didn't go the way that I wanted to go. But whatever you believe in, I believe in the higher power, the man above. I know that you don't question him. And if you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. He had other plans for me. I have all my faculties. I'm not going to have CTE. I'm going to be okay. With that being said, real estate. Once again, 2015, I got my real estate license. After just going through for lack of better words, I'll just be transparent, a depressed state of not making it in football because I wanted what I wanted. After that, I kind of went into sales. I was selling cars for a year at Beachport, doing really well for myself, selling about 10 to 12 cars a month. I think that's pretty good with 35 plus agents there. I had a guy who reached out to me and was just like, "Hey, Prince, I think you'll do good at real estate." I went to go have a meeting with him. Next thing you know, I passed the test and got my license. Sold my first home, and I never looked back. Real estate is such a lucrative thing to be a part of. In fact, anybody who's anybody, real estate is how they acquire money. Whether you don't have to be a real estate agent to do that. You could just be an investor, just a buyer for yourself. As a buyer for yourself, there's so many things that you can do. You buy a home. So many people, they get into the arguments of, renting versus buying. It's all about your preference. For me, I always look at life like this. Everyone needs somewhere to live. You know, you pay $1,000 a month, which I nope, nobody's paying $1,000 in today's climate. But just for easy numbers, $1,000 a month for a year is $12,000. If you're renting, you just spent $12,000 to put in someone else's pocket. In 4 years, that's 48. You know, what did I say? Yeah, that's $48,000 in 4 years. With that being said, that's 48,000 that you put into someone else. Now, people get into that argument, home owning versus renting. But if you put that same money into your home, once you start to build equity into the property, you can always refinance the house. You can pull that money right back out. We have 30-year mortgages out here, unless you're just rich, born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you're not buying a house with cash. But let's say, God decides to bless you, you do pay off your house. You can always get a home equity line of credit, and you'll basically, let's say your home is worth 230,000, get a home equity line of credit, and they decide to give you 200K. That's $200,000 of buying power that you have. You can go buy a piece of bubble gum. You can go buy a car. You can take a trip. You just use it almost like a credit card. You can do whatever you want to do with it. So those are the perks of home ownership. And at the end of the day, it's yours. Renting, you got to ask. You have to wait for other people to come over to fix things. And it might sound like I'm being more negative towards renting, but I'll be honest with you. I want everyone to own, in my opinion. I just think it's nothing better than just saying this is mine. But like I said, I understand we have a lot of people in the military. Thank y'all for y'all service. And, sometimes they're on the move a lot. So they want to be able to just rent and go. As far as personal highlights is real estate, one of my biggest, uh, what I love the most is just being able to help a family, help anybody, not even just a family, someone single, whomever, just put a smile on their face. Because I'll tell you, buying a home is stressful. And I'll say this, me as an agent, I just sold my old home. I bought a new house and I moved in December 23rd because I wanted to be in for Christmas for our son. Um, Very stressful. I gained a whole new perspective on clients in the past that have told me I just don't even want to do it anymore. It's a very stressful process, but I'll tell you, once you do it, it's very rewarding, and you'll be happy with the decision that you made.
That is some very, very, very valuable information, especially in this space of the pandemic. Of course, life does not stop. There's a lot of people that, whether they have their families or, singles or, whatever stage they're in, home owning is something that they may have experienced before or are transitioning into. So thank you for sharing that because, like
Problem.
there's definitely challenges in just any chapter in life, especially with home owning, but there definitely is so much of a better advantage despite the challenges of transitioning into a home owning space because you own it. You don't have to have it forever. Just learning the valuable information and resources and just information that will really make a huge difference as far as the knowledge and the wisdom that comes out of it. It makes you just make better decisions as far as what works for you, just like you said, career wise or things like that. It may not go in that direction. So with homeowning too, you still have a lot of opportunity once you learn the lingo, the information, the knowledge, and just everything in between that. So let's say you start off at one home and maybe it may not work for you, you don't have to be stuck, but having the proper knowledge and information is really critical because it just lets you know like how to just weigh your options, right? So thank you so much for touching that. I know
No
you
problem.
mentioned something about technology too. Do you have any highlights that you want to
I
share
did.
with us?
So back to the pandemic again, a blessing in disguise. Everybody saw perfect vision. Everybody thought their life was going to be this, that, and the third. I went through a little bit of I don't like to use the word depression, but a bout of just not being myself. I wasn't myself. First time father in a home with a crying baby, trying to figure life out. I had to look within. It was perfect vision, but it just wasn't the fun, the glitz and the glam that we thought it was going to be. I felt like during the pandemic, everyone at some point should have had an epiphany, like looked within and just said, you know what, I got to take control of my life. And I was doing good in real estate, but of course, real estate slowed down because of the pandemic. I said, what can I do that will allow me to not only do real estate, but also to just, make sure that I'm bringing home definitive checks, but something just not anything. I was on Twitter one day and I saw a guy say, I just bought my daughter this house, but he was also a homeowner for himself. So people was like, oh, how are you buying these houses? He was like, hey, I do IT. Next thing you know, I'm on my computer. I'm looking up schools for IT. I look up ECPI, just something, around where I stay. And I reach out and I'll never forget this lady's name, Maria Carver. She stayed on top of me. Prince, send me this transcript. Prince, send me this letter. Prince, send me this. I'm the type of person like, I don't consider myself necessarily a go-getter, but I'm the type of person is once I start something, I'm gonna finish it. I work hard. I'm just not a great self-starter, but I'm becoming a better self-starter. But as far as if somebody tell me to be here at this time and to do this, I'm going to do it. Well, and I'm gonna be there with church bells on. I'm going hard for what I have to do. But the lady Maria Carver, she got me in there. I started school. I had to take 6 prerequisite courses back in 2020, and then I started the master's program for cybersecurity in March of 2022. I graduated uh, of March of 2021, and I graduated May of 2022. So I just got my master's degree in cybersecurity, and I got my first role as a help desk technician helping the Navy. I'm big on sports. So, those who have played sports, those who are in fraternities, sororities, they know they got to go through a little bit of hazing. Me working at the help desk is like my little bit of hazing. I pretty much do it all. I'm the Swiss Army knife. At that level, you're pretty much just taking on everybody's problems and fixing it. But I climbed the ladder really, really fast. I'm great at what I do because I pay attention to detail. I pride myself on that. I want to learn why things aren't working. I want to learn why things are working. I just don't want to get stuck in the muscle memory and just doing it. Oh, this is my job. The reason I want to know these things is because I want to help other people, my colleagues, whoever needs it. And I just like being knowledgeable. With that being said, IT has me on the path to do great things. I don't want to speak about things. I had some interviews, but I don't want to speak about things too soon because I'm big on like just not counting my eggs before they hatch. But I know that God has something in store for me with IT that's going to be great for my family. Coming soon, Lady E, I'll be telling you about that. But IT, like I said, is great. It's a career that's never going to go away. Technology is here to stay. It's very prevalent in our society. It's a job when other people might be losing their jobs. I hate to say that someone's going to always have to protect the 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 information that's on the internet for companies, or however, somebody's going to have to protect that. So cybersecurity is a great field, and I'm headed towards that. So that's what I have for that.
Thank you so much. You hit every single pin to say the very least, as far as just, the reality of life. We are very passionate people, just not just from our culture, just the area that we grew up in. And, God really does laugh at our plans because his plans are literally better than ours. So just humbling yourself to understand that and always being open to the proper knowledge and information and paying attention to detail and utilizing it and applying it accordingly, that's where success takes place. Those setbacks, quote unquote, are literally the setup for a comeback. And that comeback was already designed to be your purpose anyway. So I definitely believe that everything that you've shared so far is a part of course, your story, your testimony, let alone your purpose. So to close out this segment, what do you believe when speaking about purpose, would you like to share as far as your message to the people in the generations to come?
And generations to come, honestly, this is not even for the generations to come. This is for everybody. Don't take life too serious. And a lot of times when I speak like that, I speak like that to try to help myself because I'm a very goofy person, but I'm also very serious. And I've taken life too serious at times. So my advice, did you want me to speak more about purpose or advice?
Both.
Advice. My advice would be more so just take the time out to actually be in the moment. A lot of times with myself specifically, I'm gonna speak from my own personal experience, is that I've done things too fast. I might take a trip to Jamaica. I'm having anxiety thinking about what I'm gonna do when I get home. Those things don't even matter. If you're not living in the moment, then you're gonna miss it. There's so many trips that I've taken with friends, with family that I regret because I didn't live in the moment. And what I mean is being in the moment. Sometimes just go outside, grab a leaf off the tree, actually feel the texture of the leaf, smell the leaf, look at the way the colors are, just be in the moment and don't take life so serious. Don't think that everything that you see on social media is true because it's not. A lot of people faking for the gram, a lot of people just faking in general. Nobody's going to upload their um their shortcomings, for lack of better words. Nobody's going to upload that. Everybody's going to look like they're having fun. You'll never know. You might have 6 people in the photo, everyone's smiling, and someone's feeling suicidal. You won't even know. They'll be smiling in the photo. 2 days later, they're gone. Be kind to people. I'm gonna keep repeating this over and over and over again. Don't take life too serious. Understand that the issues that you have today probably won't be your same issues 30 days later. If you get a chance, if you're having a bunch of issues, write them down on a piece of paper, ball them up, put them in a drawer, open a drawer 30 days later and see if that God didn't take care of it already. Mm-hmm. So that's ultimately, and then as far as purpose, everybody has to find their own purpose, whatever that is. Me personally, I love helping people. But my biggest issue early on, like years ago, is that I was helping people to my detriment. You have to get yourself in a place where you have to take care of yourself first. You have to take care of home first. And my analogy for that is a puzzle. If your whole body is a puzzle and you keep helping people, taking pieces of your puzzle to complete theirs, once your puzzle is no longer up to complete your puzzle. So that's something I say, take care of yourself first. And it's nothing wrong with being selfish. Be selfish in moments where you have to be selfish, whether that's protecting your mental peace, whether that's, whatever it's for, it's okay to be selfish in moments to make sure that you're okay to be able to give back. Give back as much as you can. Don't expect people to be how you are. I'm just kind of just dropping nuggets, just things that I try to live by. Life isn't perfect. Those 3 words is what gets me through life. Life ain't fair. If you understand that, it hurts, yes, but it'll help you get through life better. Love on your family and friends. Family over everything.
Amen. Thank you so much for just taking the time to just bless us with the wisdom, the value, the information, the knowledge and expertise that you have today. Obviously, have shared, this is something that anyone at any age can really take, nuggets, gems, however we articulate it. This is life value, generational lessons and conversations that we're having. And, anyone that may know us or don't know us, this is something that, we call value, because this is really what transforms your life when you really sit and really just utilize the information that we've been discussing today. So we really appreciate you. You definitely are a man of God, first and foremost. You definitely are a family man. You are, very loving, and you tell it how it is, and that's how we are at the Lady Effect. We tell it like it is. We have the necessary conversations to just really transform the mindset and the lives of the people in our communities, because like you said, we love helping people, and we have to learn how to also protect ourselves so it doesn't become our detriment as well. So just learning the balance of these things is really where successful people really exalt, so we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for just really blessing us with just all that you have. We definitely know that, with the things that have happened, especially since the pandemic and just in general, by the grace of God, we still have life. And, until he releases
Amen.
here, we really have that. We have to cherish that and humble ourselves and just know the value of life itself. So with that being said, we appreciate you being here. And you're definitely welcome to come back on a future show. We have a lot of great things in store that we'll just kind of wait for the audience to see coming up. So with that being said, again, my name is Edith. We appreciate you all for being here. Thank you so much. And last but not least, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, do you have any social media or any ways for anyone to get in touch with you regarding real estate or any professional connections?
As far, I'll just give my email out because I think that'll probably be better. That's PIP, like Pip, the number 4, G like golf, D like Delta, at gmail.com. You hear that alphanumeric, the military got me, that golf and that Delta. And I just like to say this. Thank you so much, Lady E. The professionalism. You're doing big things. Give you your flowers as well. Thank you for everything that you're doing, and thank you for having me.
We appreciate that. And thank you so much for the kind words. We love you. We really appreciate having great and prestigious men like you just really coming on to this platform and just blessing us with your wisdom. And yes, we will definitely be having some future collaborations moving forward. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Again, we will have the information in the description box for anyone that wants to reach out to Prince and myself, and definitely follow us on all social media platforms. Follow us on YouTube. And with that being said, have a blessed day, and we will see you next time. Bye.
All right.